In this lesson, I want to add in some jQuery in order to create some really nice scrolling effects. So with jQuery, it's really easy to create click events within various classes. So we already have it set up here that we've got a nav, we've got a list items underneath that nav class, and they've got hyperlinks there. So now what we can do is we can select out all of these hyperlinks. So maybe we want to just take that nav class that we've got up here and attach a hyperlink. So we got a link to the jQuery library because we're bringing it in with Bootstrap anyway. And in order to access that particular element, so actually this should be a $sign. We access it via nav, list item, and anchor text, or anchor tag, and then we're going to listen for a click, and then if there is a click, then we're going to run this function. So even if you're not familiar with jQuery, this is a really straightforward action in jQuery. Essentially, it's just a click event. It passes over that event information within that event value here, so I don't actually believe we even need to use this, but let's just keep that in there just in case, because one of the things here, we've linked out to a hyperlink, and the first thing that I want to do is do an event prevent default, and all this function is going to do is this is going to prevent that function of default function on clicks of anchor text to go to another page. So I want to prevent that action, and I want to take care of this action using jQuery. So first thing I want to do is set up a target, and we're going to use this. So this is a value that it's an object that contains all the different information of the element that actually triggered this event. So target is going to get that href value. So all it's going to do is pull back the value that's contained within href. So let's go back down to there, and now we need to figure out how far off the top that target is. And we're going to set up another variable. So variables can be anything that we want them to be. So usually the naming convention should be something that just makes sense. So we're going to use this object value, so target, because we do have that name that we're picking up from here. So if it's been clicked about, then the target value is going to be about, and all we're going to do is pass that into here, and we're going to calculate that offset off the top. And this is going to get us a value of where about is from the top. And then this is where the magic happens with jQuery. So we've got HTML and we've got body. So these are referring to the tags, much like CSS. When we refer to the tag, then we don't have to prefix it with anything. If it's an ID, then we prefix it with the hash. If it's a class, we prefix it with a period. So we're going to do animate. And within animate, so we've got a bunch of parameters there. So one of them is called scroll top. And the position that we're scrolling to, the value is going to be contained within offset top. And then lastly, we need to give it a value here in milliseconds of how quickly it's going to do the scroll. So let's check this out and see how this is going to work. So now when I click it, I need to give it a second to load. And we go into our main website, so we're going into localhost, and we see that when we click that link directly, we automatically go into there. But now when we click our navigation bar, because we've attached this jQuery functionality, we get these really nice, neat scrolling effects on our web page. And we don't get that when we just click to the about. So there's just different ways of presenting that content. And usually this is typical with one-page websites where you have these kind of neat jQuery scrolling effects and just different effects to make the website content so that the user understands that there's a whole bunch of content there and they can scroll through it themselves to be able to see the different sections of the website. So that's how we add in the scrolling. We can also add in a modal, so what we had talked about earlier. So I'm going to cover that off on the next lesson, how we can activate this modal. And that's a Bootstrap built-in functionality. And again, this is going to require JQuery. So we've already done some customized JQuery. The next one, we're going to just use the built-in Bootstrap.